Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you, along with Tariq Spence of WDKX. Hey, Tariq.
Feeling good. Happy to be here as always, guys.
All right, Pat Duffy in his...
I am wearing my Chris Taylor Amerks jersey in protest today. Very upset about what happened yesterday, but I mean, we'll get into it, Bill. We'll get into it.
Well, there's no time like the present. I was stunned to see it come out of nowhere. 3 weeks ago, they tell Jason Bottrill that he is still the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. Now he's gone, and just about everyone that he knows is out of the organization.
Yeah, I think they called like one of his cousins and said, you can't even come into Buffalo anymore, so don't even think about it. No, look, it's not shocking that Bottrill loses his job. I mean, 31st, 27th, 25th finish. You have a league in which 24 teams make these extended playoffs, and you miss it by a game. Fine, let him go. But, Bill, it's like you said, 3 weeks ago, you give him a vote of confidence. You had 3 weeks of him thinking he had a job. He had a press conference to talk about what his plans were moving forward, and 3 weeks later, you go hire Kevin Adams, who has worked in your front office for a couple of years after playing in the NHL and being an assistant coach of this team in the early 2010s. It doesn't make any sense. It's infuriating that the Pegula family has yet to hire a general manager with any general manager experience. Think about that. You had a team rebuilding from the bottom up for the last 9 years, and you have not hired anybody with the experience of the job you're hiring them for. But here's the thing. The Sabres stuff I can let slide. I understand it. What happened in Rochester on Tuesday is unforgivable. They blew out the entire Rochester American staff. Chris Taylor is a great hockey coach. Not only is he an Amerks legend, not only is he a great guy, he's a great hockey coach. Chris Taylor is going to be an NHL coach one day, and there's going to be a time, 15 years from now when 25-year-old Sabres fans are going to look and go, wow, Chris Taylor was in the system here at Buffalo. Why did he not get a shot at the job? He's Mike Keenan. He's John Tortorella. There is no excuse with the job that Chris Taylor was able to do that you let him go, other than you have no idea what you're doing. And I'm losing it, Bill. I'm losing it.
Breathe. It's okay.
Not okay.
Let me toss a couple numbers at you. You just mentioned Chris Taylor. The Amerks are on track, and they finished the season to have their first back-to-back 40-win seasons in 20 years. And as far as the Sabres go, again, according to Kevin Klubja, in an article he wrote, there have been 19 executive-level changes in the last 3 years in that organization. That's not a blueprint for success, is it?
But I don't understand how, Duffy, you could be sort of surprised or shocked by it. I understand it from the Amerks standpoint, and I think Taylor was doing a great job. I mean, they were second in their division. They were playing extremely well. So I don't understand why you would get rid of something that's working, even if it is at the Amerks level. My concern is that were we not on this show a couple of months ago talking a little bit about this article that Tim Graham brought about the investigation and what's going on in the culture at PSE and how McDermott was concerned about it affecting the Buffalo Bills, but it was really the Buffalo Sabres. And now all of this now comes out. And I think Kim Pegula basically saying that, we're not rebuilding. And I'm like, well, sure, looks like you are. So it is. This isn't shocking to me because I remember having that conversation. I think we were just getting into quarantine, and I'm looking at this story and I'm kind of like, that kind of leads some belief that they were on to something, to the culture not being right for the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, I mean, you're not wrong. Look, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
And the spending thing too. I mean, there was more than once where they brought up this: we want to streamline the organization. As this, we want to spend less money on the hockey team. And to Tariq's point, you can only draw a direct line to the football team.
Sure. Listen, neither of you guys are wrong. Tariq, you're right in what we said. In my wildest dreams of dysfunction, I did not think what happened yesterday was possible. I mean, you're reading national hockey writers. They were the news all over the place yesterday, and not just because nothing was going on. Multiple NHL writers saying what happened Tuesday, is something they had never seen before. Unprecedented. Like, anybody that Jason Bottrill shook hands with gets shown the door. And here's the thing that boggles my mind the most, and what I cannot reconcile, all right? You make a hire from within the franchise without interviewing any other general manager. Yes, they're trying to save money. I get it. But if you're going to sell it as we want our own homegrown people, don't blow out everybody else who is a homegrown person. At least sell me the lie you're trying to sell me. Because right now, for the first time in my life, and I talked about it on the break room earlier this week, it's the first time I have lost all faith in a team that I love. I'm going to watch these games. I'm going to enjoy hockey, but I have no belief that they have any idea what they're doing on the hockey side.
Wow, he sounds like a Knicks fan.
I hate it. I hate it, Tariq. Now I know how you feel.
Hey, just for the fun, Duffy, please don't do this. But anybody else who's a Sabre fan, Buffalo Sabres and culture. Go Google it and see how many articles you'll read that led up to this point.
Don't listen to this man. Do not do what he says.
My wildest dreams is dysfunction. That's the line of the show so far. This is the Rochester Press Box. Thanks for joining us. We talk Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay and Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us. Welcome back. This is the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, Tariq Spence, Pat Duffy. Tariq, Buffalo Bills, the good news just seems to keep in coming. It's like, let's not play the games because only bad things are going to happen. The Buffalo Bills are number 1 in the NFL in terms of continuity. Now, ESPN had a formula where it's the number of players, the number of coaches, and everybody else within the organization that are returning. This is really good news because I think we believe continuity is first a good thing. And second, of the top 4, Kansas City and San Francisco were in there, and they played the Super Bowl. This is a good sign, isn't it?
It is, and it shows that there's a lot of consistency with McDermott and Bean and working together for this. They're putting everything on the line here. We'll find out with Josh Allen's upcoming season, whether or not it's all worth it in picking the quarterback and putting this whole team together and roster and talent going forward. I mean, the biggest weapon they maybe lost on offense is Frank Gore, which we know are at the end of his years. And, of course, the loss of Alexander on the defensive end to retirement. I mean, listen, I think that they're in great company with the Chiefs. They're in great company with the 49ers, who also have a lot of continuity. We're not quite sure with the Colts. They were high there as well. But I mean, let's see. It's all on the line now. The problem here is the calendar. The calendar is the worst enemy of the Buffalo Bills because the hype continues to grow, yet we may not play as many preseason games now. And it's almost as if we're getting bets on whether or not Josh Allen can win MVP. It is the pressure is starting to mount. Every single day, we are, counting down to the first game of the year, and if we're even going to have fans in the stands. So I like the continuity. I like the fact that they're up there with a team that just won the Super Bowl and a team that was, playing for a championship as well. It's just a matter of actually getting this team out there and putting all that chemistry together with them having no contact with each other right now.
So, Pat, you did a closing piece a few weeks ago. It was about, this is typical. This is the best Buffalo Bills team we've had in a long time. It's going to do well, and we can't go see it. The timing that they picked in the year of the coronavirus, it just is typical, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, I'm reconciled. As long as they do well, I don't have to be at the stadium. Just let me cheer at home. What I do find very interesting about the continuity of this Bills team is, I think, in my humble opinion, the success and failure of this team will fall strictly upon the shoulders of Sean McDermott and his coaching staff, right? Because the excuse that's been made for McDermott is you're bringing in players, you're seeing who works, you're trying to implement a plan. All of that's done. You have laid the groundwork for what you wanted. And he's the first Bills coach since arguably Wade Phillips, who has had the ability to lay the groundwork to take a step forward. Everything that happens with this team, short of crazy injuries, knock on wood, right, will be a result of how good an in-game coach or how bad an in-game coach Sean McDermott is. And if there is one thing I still question as a Bills fan, based on Nate Peterman and based on the playoff game last season and based on a couple of performances, how good a coach in-game is Sean McDermott. If he can get that under control, we're golden, baby.
Yeah, there really are no excuses, Tariq, don't you think? I mean, they've got the roster, everything. There are no outs. This really is the year that they have to go put it on the field.
No Tom Brady. So there's no Patriots. There's a Jets team that you're close, being compared to as being close to ready. At least being compared to. The Dolphins aren't there yet, unless Tua is a miraculous player and can revive that franchise quicker than they anticipate. This is supposed to be the year. And to your point, not only winning a playoff game, perhaps even going to the AFC Championship game would be, I think, an accomplishment. I think you cannot just win a playoff game, Duffy. I think you would agree. You should have won one last year. So now you have to win one and be at least in contention to go to the AFC Championship game if you are the Buffalo Bills. Would you not agree with that?
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? We're having a fun conversation. Everyone's excited, and you got to keep just like upping the ante of what they're supposed to do.
Okay. So are they supposed to lose a playoff game again like they did last year?
Just be exciting. Just be exciting and take a step forward. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for the world, man. Just take a step
forward.
forward.
Is winning more than one playoff game.
Well, how about this? If they're the number one seed in the AFC, they only have to win one playoff game to get to the AFC championship game.
Right. You are correct. Thank you.
We're the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Pat Duffy, like it or not, or do you care at all, about Mike Gundy, head coach of the Oklahoma State football team. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I find the whole T-shirt situation, the OANN thing with Mike Gundy very interesting because it's not just the situation with Mike Gundy. You're seeing it in other colleges with major sports programs as well. Players seeing something that they disagree with, that they think is over the line, and taking back power from some of these guys. Look, the apologies being given, are they sincere? Do they mean it? Are they doing damage control? Whether it's Gundy, whether it's the comments that Devil Sweeney made, whether what's going on up in Michigan or Ohio State, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, now these players are in a position, and they're the ones making the money for these schools. Let's not lie here and pretend anything. They're in the position to say now, if you want me here, how about what's happening in Texas? Those players refusing to recruit and do alumni and booster benefit things until they get what they want from that program. That's great. They've had the ability to do this for years and years and years. And finally, it seems they have realized the power they have and are grasping it in one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Socially and politically important times in our maybe country.
It is raising the bar for these coaches. These guys that have to come into your living room and sell you on the idea that they're going to own your kid for the next 4 years. Yeah. They better start knowing what they're talking about. I mean, ignorance of social issues and, what's right and wrong for kids these days is something they're going to have to pay a lot more attention to than they have previously.
And you better be able to. I better know exactly who you are, or I'm transferring out, basically.
Pat, Dr. Fauci came out this week and said that he recommended the baseball have its season done by September because the virus is going to come back. How scary is that?
It's interesting he said that because the season isn't going to start because they can't get the heck out of their own way to make it done. I mean, yes, I get what he's saying here, and it puts in jeopardy everything else that we think is definitely coming down the line with the NFL and the potential end of the NBA there. But, yeah, man, I mean, all of these things that we thought were definites that we could maybe work around for professional sports, day by day, it seems are becoming more and more questionable, right, Tariq?
I mean, listen, I don't believe this is going to get resolved, and that concerns me. And I'm almost at the point now with some of the sports where it's kind of like, if you come back, I don't care. I mean, we're pushing this all about money, and you're getting closer and closer to the NFL season. You're getting closer and closer to whether or not we're going to see anything. I just got this feeling that here we are 4 months into a pandemic, and you're arguing over money. What's the point now? You know what I mean? You're going to lose half the season, and now there's a concern of a second wave. Great. Yeah. Why would I even start now?
Last thing on this, Pat. How was it that hockey seemed to get it right? They're the only ones out there that have actually got things set.
I don't know if hockey did get it right. There are still a lot of hockey fans that are upset that there's 24 teams playing in the playoffs. They only have one hub city when they need two. One in America, one in Canada is what they were looking for. And for some reason, they picked Las Vegas, which is the most open of all the cities, which makes no sense to me at all when it comes to places you want to put players in to keep safe. We're not going to know, Bill, if they have this under control and if they made the right choice until if and when all of this stuff starts up again.
We are the Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business is next.
In now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. It is time for Unfinished Business. As always, we start with Mr. Duffy.
We'll start this on Twitter. A good friend of mine, coworker, Mike Danger, he does the sports bar on 95.7 ESPN, our sister station out there, tweeted something out that I laughed out loud at because I thought it was so stupid earlier this week. When we find out that baseball has way more problems getting the season started than we thought, he tweets, and I'm paraphrasing, essentially, Major League Soccer in a decade will be more popular than Major League Baseball. And I laughed, and I thought he's being dramatic, and and then I walked away from my phone, and I was thinking about it for a little while. And baseball's been a dominant sport in this country for a very long time. Now, it's not as dominant as it used to be, but it's still a major force sport. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was right up there with boxing and horse racing, which, with the exception of the occasional fight and one of the 3 big races a year, nobody pays any attention to anymore. I mean, the fact of the matter is this: baseball has had serious problems for the last 20 years, whether it's cheating scandals or steroid scandals or lack of entertainment in the game perceived from new fans. There's nothing that says that baseball has to stick around. In fact, if baseball kept playing, there was nothing that said baseball had to stick around. As Bill brought up earlier, when you have leagues like the NHL that have a plan moving forward, when you look at what the NBA is planning at Disney World, which looks like a blast, by the way, I want to go do that. When you look at the NFL and all the contingencies they're putting into place, there's no excuse for baseball not to get going. And I wonder, as Mike Danger tweets out that stupid thing that he did about Major League Soccer, if maybe he's so stupid, he's right.
For Mike Gundy and Dabo Sweeney, I think my point would be, I don't really care where you lean politically, whether you're Democrat or Republican, but the shirts that you do wear are a message that are expressing to you, not only your fans, but to players as well. Now, I'm not telling you to pick a side, but I am saying to you publicly, like when you go out and wear a shirt that symbolizes certain things, you have to be able to be as open and honest when you're recruiting that 5-star athlete and sitting in his parents' house trying to convince them to go to your university. It is your responsibility. Why? Because you're a high-priced college football coach or basketball coach. You are now the face of the program. No university, college, or president is going to bail you out on this one. You make more than they do. And the university and the college president are on the side, or supposed to be, of the students and what's best for the university. I'm simply saying this. When you bring words and actions, they must be followed. They must be sincere. If they're not sincere, they're judged by the athletes that play for you or may not play for you. My point is very simple. Student athletes want to know that their coach cares about them beyond being a 5-star recruit or a 3rd-string player. So when you have those open conversations with them, be honest about who you are, coach.
Nicely done. Hey, this just in. The New York-PENN League has informed its teams that the start of their baseball season will be indefinitely postponed. You think? The New York-PENN League was supposed to start their 82nd season, I think it was, this week. And while the major leagues debate the conditions upon which they can return, the minor leagues have officially been told nothing. They are unofficially roadkill in this whole dispute about how Major League Baseball is going to get itself back started. And nowhere is that more true than in the New York-PENN League, where teams like the Batavia Muck Dogs and the Auburn Doubledays have been designated for extermination. It's just like the graduates of the class of 2020. They're missing out on a great opportunity here by not playing ball. Hey, look, they know they're not going to play this year. We know they're not going to play this year. They just can't tell you that because Major League Baseball has given them absolutely no direction. But again, like the graduates of 2020, these teams are not going to have their last hurrah. They're not going to celebrate their franchise. They're not going to be able to stand up and shout, hey, we once mattered. Instead, they're just going to simply disappear into the night. And without these things, really, that's all they're going to do. The Batavia Muck Dogs, the Auburn Doubledays, the New York-PENN League, they're simply going to just disappear. That's Unfinished Business. This is the Rochester Press Box. Guys, nice job. Tariq, Pat?
That's terrible. I mean, they're going to disappear like Endgame, like Thanos. That's not cool.
They don't get a chance to wave goodbye. I just think, again, I think there's a parallel. It's not as serious, but there's a parallel to the whole 2020 graduation class.
Hey, Bill, did you get that reference from Tariq, or is he the only giant nerd that's in the press box right now?
I like to just...
Nerd!
Well, in my